Most people read the headlines. I read the small print. This is Footnotes, where I find the biggest stories in the smallest detail. It was a cold, bone-chilling Tuesday in Scotland, the kind of rain that doesn't just fall, it soaks into your very soul. Inside a small, drafty stone church, a tired missionary stood before a handful of scattered congregants. He had spent years in the heat of Africa, and he had come home to find apathy. He looked out at the pews. Most of the faces were lined with age. Sincere? Yes, but hardly the laborers he was looking for. Still, he gave the message. He spoke of the desperate need, the vast frontiers, and the call of the gospel. He ended his plea with a question that hung heavy in the damp air. Who will go? Who will go? Who will go? Silence. But then, from behind the great pipe organ, a small head popped up. It was the bellow boy, the lad whose job it was to manually pump the bellows so the organ could sing. His face was flushed, his eyes were bright, and he shouted with a conviction that startled the room. "I will go! I will go! I will go!" The old folks smiled at the boy's enthusiasm. They told him, "David, if you're serious, go become a doctor first, then go." So he did. Years later, that boy, David Livingstone, found himself deep in the heart of the African continent. He wasn't pumping bellows anymore. He was pioneering the unknown. But one night, the frontier turned deadly. A local tribal chief, resistant to the message, sent word, "Tonight we are coming. We will murder you, and we will burn your compound to the ground." Livingstone retreated to his tent. We know what happened next because he kept a diary. He wrote of his fear. He wrote of his faith. He pleaded with the Almighty for protection. He waited for the sound of the war cry. But the night remained silent. The sun rose on a compound that was untouched. It took 2 years of patient labor before that same chief finally surrendered his heart to the message Livingstone carried. After the conversion, Livingstone asked him the question that had haunted him. "Chief, you promised to kill us that night. You said you were coming. Why didn't you?" The chief looked at him in genuine surprise. "We did come," he said. "But as we approached, we saw them. 39 giants, great warriors, standing guard, surrounding your compound. We counted them. There were 39. We were terrified, so we left." Livingstone eventually returned to that same drafty stone church in Scotland to share the miracles of the mission field. He told the story of the 39 giants and the chief who stayed his hand. After the service, the church secretary, a man who kept meticulous records, approached the famous explorer. "Dr. Livingstone," he asked, "do you happen to remember the exact date the chief intended to attack?" Livingstone did, and he gave the date. The secretary opened the old church ledger, his finger tracing down the ink-stained lines until he found the entry. He turned the book around for the missionary to see. On that exact night, half a world away in the freezing Scottish rain, a special prayer meeting had been called. The attendance was low, most stayed home by the fire, but the ledger recorded the exact number of those who had knelt to intercede for their boy in Africa. There were 39. I'm Brenda, and sometimes the footnotes are more powerful than we can ever imagine.